Hi there. My name is Samantha, and I wanted to share a story that I had written about 9 months ago. It was on July 16th, 2023. That was inspired by one of my teachers. There's two teachers that's going to be within this story, but one I am going to name and one that's going to remain nameless, um, as you're going to hear within the story, and you'll see why one will remain nameless. Okay. But my hope is that the story that I get to share will inspire and maybe encourage, even if it's just one person, to be the best version of themselves. Okay. So here goes. In decades past, the words, the theology, the methods, behaviors, culture, society, you name it, it influenced the minds and the hearts of an individual and possibly their journey and what direction that they would go. What would become of them, one might wonder. Have they just sat there like bumps on a log, twiddling their thumbs? Or are they making an impact in their families, in their community, in their state, in their nation? What was the impact of decades past of the words, the theology, the methods, the behavior, the culture, the society, you name it, of the individuals? One might wonder. Here's a story of an individual giving herself permission to be vulnerable because she experienced fear, but yet overcame it and experienced freedom and the hope that now others can too give themselves permission to be the best versions of themselves. It's another ordinary day in elementary school, but it's no ordinary day when you feel like the dumbest kid, dumbest student in the smartest class. This was a smart kid class, as they've called it. The gifted and talented kids of the school. So much pressure for a fourth grader, so much expectations and standards to live by, benchmarks and tests, so much strong emotions as well, but don't know how to explain it or what it all means. I felt so scared. I feel so not enough, like I'm not enough, not even smart enough, not even confident enough to be here. Why am I here? I don't even like reading, let alone reading out loud. As we entered the classroom and sat in circular arrangement, reading out loud, starting from the most outspoken person in the class. She was amazing because she was a confident reader and she pronounced every word with eloquency. But no, that sure wasn't me. I was fearful to read out loud. I always made sure I sat next to my brother because I felt safe next to him. I say brother. We called each other brother and sister because we grew up together. And that's just how it was. We weren't blood related, but we were heart related. I felt safe next to him because he was a confident reader. And that protected me. However, this particular day changed the trajectory of my internal being and set the course for me on a path of inner silence. I thought would never come out of because it took such deep root on the inside at such a young age. It was my turn coming up to read out loud. I recall my physical body experiencing extreme hypertension, my body shaking, my hands sweating, fumbling over every word. I couldn't even read. The words seemed so foreign to me, so unfamiliar on the pages. I was so lost in those words. Even reading a preschool sight word, I couldn't even read it. Couldn't even read a word. And it happened. My life was about to change. In just the next moment, it sounded like a trumpet, a really loud trumpet. But it brought so much fear because with the trumpet was, was backed with so much anger and so much disappointment that it happened. That my teacher went, slammed her hand on the desk, screaming at the top of her lungs, telling me, "Stop right there. I can't believe it. You can't even read, and you're in my class. You don't even belong here. But I know why you're here. It's because of your mom." And in disbelief, I sat there. those words and that look of disappointment and rejection and anger haunted me all these years. And those thoughts would replay in my mind. What? In disbelief, just sitting there, fighting back my tears, holding in every emotion because I was taught by my grandmother, who I love so much, to show kindness and respect to others, especially adults. But in that moment, would I have permission to react or respond to this? I was in the fourth grade. What do I do? Would my classmates back me up? Who am I now? I sat in silence. I sat there in class, replaying those words as my turn to read passed over me to the next person. I saw the eyes of my friends in disbelief as well, not knowing what to say. So as I sat there silently and replayed those words, it raced through my head over and over and over, like it cemented. It got rooted real quickly into my memory bank. I didn't even say one word. My brother didn't even say a word. He looked at me with eyes of sadness and disbelief, not knowing what to say. And I never gave my innocence permission to have a voice. I passively collapsed in an instant and over time. In years, as the days passed and the weeks and the months passed, more and more, my confidence collapsed because of that one moment. I learned quickly how to hide my true emotions of pain and fear and to protect myself and really to protect those that I loved, especially my mom. So the moment we were dismissed from our class, our gifted and talented class, I made everyone promise me I- that they would not speak about that moment ever again, that they would not say a word to anyone, not even their parents. I can see all their faces and I know all their names, but I won't say them. I will keep it confidential for now because I did not get permission to say their names. They kept that promise. It never came up. After that day, they never mentioned it. They never made it a thing. Better yet, they never made me feel less than, ever. So, to my friends, I want to thank you for showing me support and love in a special way and giving me permission to become the best version of myself on my timing. The words of that teacher unknowingly put a deep seed of rejection, insecurity, fear on the inside of me that I embraced and I allowed to fester and grow, that I got comfortable with, that everything, almost everything that I've done, I filtered through those lenses of insecurity. But over time, it didn't stay that way because 2 years later of this incident, I was in the sixth grade and different teacher who seemed strict and mean. However, her approach of what it might have seemed like strict and mean came with love, looked different. She would always tell us, don't sit there like a bump in the log. Get up and do something. Wow. That was almost a daily occurrence. We would hear that because somebody would always be sitting there doing nothing. But the way she said it and the way she would look at us was filled with compassion, really. And it came from a heart of love. But it seemed at the moment for me, she was strict and mean. But really, was she strict and mean? Or did she have standards for us because she saw potential? Her not knowing what happened to me in the fourth grade was possibly pulling out that potential that was buried on the inside of me. That fear covered the potential. So it helped me to be the woman that I am today, who chose not to sit there like a bump on the log and fight the good fight of faith to be the best version of myself. It's con- it's convenient to look outward, to hold responsible another person. Yeah, maybe they were not treating us fairly, or the situation might have not been right. But if we start looking inward, what the situation is doing for us and what it was working out of me, it's strengthening me and it's strengthening. We find the precious gems because just as much as those harsh words filled with anger and disappointment was being planted, there was also words that seemed harsh, but it wasn't. It was potential that was planted as well. So you see, we have a choice. So I encourage you, you never know the words, the theology, the methods, the behaviors, culture, society, you name it. But we get to choose at the end of the day what we give power to, what we give the power to have power over us. And we get to decide and we give permission to those things. So one might ask, what has become of that potential? Grew up living out her potential because it was someone that saw potential in an early age for this young girl who might have otherwise lived with a life sentence of internal imprisonment. But until we're able to confront what we need to be freed up from rejection or guilt or shame or disappointments, we give that power over us. But if we can, we choose. We get to choose. So let's be kind to ourselves. And let's be kind to others. Give yourself permission to be the best version of yourself. As my sixth grade teacher, the late Miss Julia Smith, would say, don't sit there like a bump on the log. Do something. I want to challenge you. You might not be able to do everything, but you can do something. What can you do? Maybe it's for yourself. Give yourself permission to be the best version of yourself. I say this, I might not be able to change the whole world, but I can change the world of one person. And if that one person is just me, I can do that. And you can do that. You can change the world of one person. That's you. And you can change the world of your world. Just you. So I hope this encourages you to be the best version of yourself and give yourself permission because you deserve the best life. Thank you.